hip internal rotation eccentrics. So I'm going to show you how to do this on a cable machine. I've also got some ankle weights here, so I am going to redo it a little bit later with the ankle weights, and then so that'll be on the second part of the video. So if you want to watch that, do some ankle weights at home, obviously feel free. So we're going to do, obviously, so this is internal rotation of my hip where the foot goes out. We're going to do some eccentrics. So with the eccentric, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm saving all of my energy in the tissue for the eccentric portion, so I'm not doing this concentric portion. So what I'm going to do is I'm seated on this bench here to make sure that I don't have to worry too much about my leg apart from the rotation. So I'm going to reach forward, and I'm actually going to pull myself into the external rotation, contract the tissue. Now, once I've done that, slowly out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is like 6 to 8 seconds per rep. And then once again, reach down, grab it, because I don't want to be using the energy of the tissue for the concentric phase. So what we're doing here, it's connective tissue training, and we're increasing the load-bearing capacity of your connective tissue. So this is probably a little bit too light for me. Go up to 20. Whee, whoopa. All right, so now really contract and slowly, nice and slow and controlled all the way through, and then control it all the way to the end of that range. Now, if you happen to be hypermobile while you're doing this, please just make sure that you stop at a range where you've actually got some control. I would say mark where your active range is, and then go to about 10 to 15 degrees past that and just go to there. So you'll set this up so that you can't go too much further, because I don't want you pulling yourself into a big stretch. Because otherwise, if you go too far, you're not going to have the strength to be able to do it anyway at that end range. This is still probably a little bit too light for me. So here we go. Whee, 55 pounds for you goddamn Americans. Oh, here we go. Contract. That's fucking more like it. Oh, nice and slow, controlled all the way to the end. Whew. As you can see, this is a whole body exercise. My arms contract, nice. And that is your hip internal rotation. So now the hip internal rotation eccentrics with an ankle weight on here. So all I'm going to do is literally lay sideways, have my leg just off the edge of this box or bench or whatever it is, and slowly, exactly the same thing, just slowly down through to the end of the range. The only thing you want to be careful of here is you don't want the leg going all the way to here, because now gravity's, I'm not really doing anything. So just make sure as you do this, you want your, particularly at the bottom, you want your shin to be as sort of horizontal as you can. So just don't let that hip kind of drop too far that way. Try to keep this hip this way, almost do like a little side crunch. Once again, you don't want to use all your tissue here in the concentric phase to tire yourself out. I like to use a strap here. You can sort of come up like this and actually just hold it yourself. And then try to hold, try to hold, try to hold, try to hold, try to hold. Nice and slow, nice and slow. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. The only problem when you do this is, once again, the angle of the shin. So I like to use a yoga strap. Use whatever you want. So I'll lay down, hip. So I'll use a little bit of strength in the hip to pull it up, but I'm doing this mostly with my hand. Control, nice and slow. And this is your hip internal rotation eccentric with an ankle weight. Now, if you happen to be hypermobile, once again, you only want to go to a range that is, let's say that's your active range plus about 15 degrees. So all I would do to do that is make sure that whatever you're using, so if this box is probably too high, if you use like a normal 18-inch, like any kind of bench box, so that your foot kind of ends up a couple inches off the floor at the end of your range of motion. That way you can't go too far. Worst case scenario, you go right to the end and you're actually going to failure for one set, because I tell you, you're going to failure. You can actually go to failure, and then when you drop at the end, like you're only dropping an inch, so you're not going to hurt yourself. So once again, if it's hypermobile, just figure out where you're going to finish the rep, which is about roughly 10 to 15 degrees past your active range. And that's your hip internal rotation eccentrics with an ankle weight. Enjoy.